the egg white curry, I'm boiling 3 eggs, but you could go up to even 5 eggs for this recipe. Eggs should be hard boiled and peeled and ready to use at the time that the gravy is ready. So these are going to cook for about 10 or 15 minutes, and then I will peel them. And for my gravy, I'm using some ground mustard and curry powder, some coriander powder, garlic powder, and I have some cumin, fenugreek seeds, and a little bit of turmeric. Mix all the spices with the onions and green chilies in the pot. I'm using the clay pot. It's the first time I'm using. It took me a good 2 to 3 days to season this pot and prevent it from absorbing any gravy that's in it or any water. So I'm hoping this will work. All right, so this is 2 cups of thin coconut milk. I extracted the coconut milk myself, so this is the second extract, and the first extract I have kept as the thick milk. The eggs are boiled and ready. You can see I've peeled the eggs, so they're just sitting there waiting for the gravy to be done. So a little note about the thin milk. If you're using canned milk, you might have to dilute it to thin it down with water. You don't want any cream in the milk at this point. We're just using it to cook down the onions, the green chilies, and the spices. So cook this covered and bring it to a boil like this. I just started boiling, and when you see this, you see a lot of the creaminess in the froth on the top of the gravy. Break it down so that your gravy will be smooth and it's not going to get clotted. At this point, you know that the thinner the milk is, the less problems you will have, and it won't clot as much, but you would have to go in there every now and then to stir the gravy and prevent it from clotting. This will cook until the onions become translucent. It's almost at that point. I'm going to add some salt now, and salt always to your taste. Keep stirring, and then reduce the heat to about medium-low. Close the pan like this and continue to cook. And this is a few minutes later. You can see the onions have become translucent, and if you press on them, they become soft. You could continue to cook this until the onions are pulpy, but that's not necessary. As long as it looks like this, the gravy is ready. Instead of using thin coconut milk, you could also use water to cook this down, and then finish off with thick coconut milk, and that's totally acceptable too. Add the thick coconut milk now, and you could add as much or as little as you want. It depends on how much gravy you want in your curry. For instance, if you're serving this with string hoppers, you want a thinner curry with more gravy. But if you're gonna serve with rice, then the gravy should be thicker and much less. To thicken your gravy, if the coconut milk doesn't do it, add a little bit of rice flour. Usually for this amount of gravy, it's really hard to get the coconut milk to really thicken, that it clings to the eggs. So rice flour does the trick. Stir in the rice flour really vigorously like this to break up the lumps. Then you'll notice that your gravy becomes a little smoother and a little thicker, and you could keep adding the rice flour until the thickness that you want is achieved. I'm adding a little bit of vinegar because I don't have limes today, but any acid that you add at this point, you would have to ensure that you're stirring really well like this to prevent the gravy from clotting. A little more rice flour. I used about 1.5 teaspoons or 1 heaped teaspoon of rice flour so far, and I think for my preference, this gravy is thick enough. Keep stirring until you know that the rice flour has dissolved very well and there are no clots. Then add the eggs, and in a few minutes the eggs are going to turn yellow from the turmeric in the gravy. Now you can make this egg curry with certainly the spices that you have on hand. There's no need to go out and buy things to make a Sri Lankan curry. Most of the time in the typical traditional kitchen, they're very resourceful. They use substitutions and go without if those ingredients are not available. And that's exactly what I did today too. I think you'll like this recipe. If you do get a chance to try it, leave your feedback. I'd love to hear your comments, and your subscription means a lot to me. So be sure to subscribe to get alerts on the newest videos that I upload. And there's more egg recipes and the spicy egg curry recipe at the end of this video. Click on the links to check them out. Thanks for watching.